Okay, hot off the presses. You're hearing it.
Yeah.
You're hearing it here first, folks. The Oscar
I'm gonna do
nominations
that.
are out.
What is that? What is that? What is that? Is that Morse code? What is that thing? Is that the you know what I'm talking about?
I think it's just like news bulletin. Like,
Yeah. Who decided that? Who's like, yeah, I got it.
it's probably some like, yeah. I assume it's probably some marketing agent who was like, what's like an annoying loud noise that you can use to grab people's attention?
Everyone in the room surrounded by their old TV like snaps at the TV. Like,
yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some Oscar noms. We got some hot noms.
Hot noms.
Yeah.
So what's our general take on it? I'm actually like, compared to recent years, I'm like mostly kind of liking them, because there's actually a fair amount of these that were like, ones that I'd seen or on my watch list. So like,
yeah,
I'm actually pretty happy with it for the most part.
I think it's weird to see, because I think in my head for like Best Picture, I always think, of the Oscar baity prestige films from like auteur directors. Like I feel like in my mind for some reason, like when I think of Best Picture, I think like the 90s and the early 2000s of like that caliber of movie.
Forrest
Yeah,
Gump.
that type of movie.
Yeah.
So when it's like Avatar and Top Gun, not to say anything about those, not to say like they don't deserve it,
Sure.
but it's weird to see Top Gun, which was like this kind of this movie from like the 80s and the 90s. I forget what year it came out, but it's like
80s, late
it's like it's a hunky dude in aviator sunglasses, volleyball, like dogfight airplane movie. In my head, I'm still just like, this doesn't belong in the Best Picture. It could be good, but it doesn't belong. Same with like Avatar. It's like, I don't know, I can't. It's giving me cognitive dissonance. Not to say they don't deserve it, but it's just strange to me.
Right. I mean, if you get down to that, it's like, these aren't my top 10 movies of the year, right? But like maybe some of them are in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually am open to that, to them bringing in certain cases.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Avatar
Obviously,
2.
like Return of the King from 2003 is like,
that would be,
that's a high fantasy movie that it is kind of an outsider in that category, but you watch that movie and you're like, yeah, duh, this is Best Picture. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And I wouldn't say quite the same for Top Gun by any means, but I thought it was a good movie. And if and this might be giving the Academy too much credit, but I see merit in something like Top Gun, where it's like, sure, it's not that prestige, like, drama Oscar-y movie, but it's probably one of the best made movies of the year because of like the technical,
the fact that it's like, it's like practical shit, like
all
it's
that
real
stuff. And I think there's merit to that. So I'm okay with, I'm open to that stuff in certain cases.
Yeah.
So like it makes sense for me for Top Gun, and I suppose for Avatar, because the special effects. I haven't seen it, but the first Avatar was the same deal. Yeah.
Was the first Avatar up for Best Picture?
Yep. A lot of people thought it was gonna. It won like every technical, but then he lost. I remember it was like it was pretty good because he lost to Catherine Bigelow for directing, who was his ex-wife, and then
for what was that, The Hurt Locker?
Yeah, and then Hurt Locker also won Best Picture. but yeah, Avatar 1 got like all the sound, visual effects, blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between. I feel like what's really gonna sweep is gonna be. I feel like The Fabelmans is gonna sweep a lot. That
because
seems to
it's
be
Spielberg.
Yeah,
I think that's.
And I still haven't seen it. I mean, everyone that I've talked to says that it's good, so I'm sure I'm sure it is. I like some Pauly D.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the movies on the list that I've seen, I'm gonna be rooting for Banshees because I thought that movie rocked, and I'd like to see that movie get some recognition.
Yeah, I've only seen Banshees, Everything, and Top Gun.
I think Tar is streaming now. I do want to watch that, although, I think it's on Peacock because that's how we've been watching 30 Rock, and like we opened it up this morning and I saw Tar on there.
Oh, nice.
So I think it's available.
I do want to see that because I like that guy's last movie from fucking, I think, like 2006 or something. It's been a really long time since he's done a movie. And, you know, Cate Blanchett's, like, one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
I like Todd Field as... I've only seen him as an actor.
I forgot about
Nicholas
that.
Nightingale in Eyes Wide Shut.
That's
he's the
right.
pianist.
Yeah, we brought that up recently. I forgot about that. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Tar is like pretty high on my list. Triangle of Sadness has been on my list for a long time. All Quiet on the Western Front too. Although I think I want to rewatch the Orig first because I really like the original All Quiet. And then the other ones are like ones that I'm not. I mean, I'd never heard of women talking before. There's always one. There's always one or two. Where I'm
same,
like,
right? Me
this?
either. On this podcast, no ladies talking here.
Yeah. And then even
Frances McDormand's in it. Oh.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of like decent like names in it. Like Rooney Mara and Jesse Buckley are also in it. And then Elvis is the one that was always like, oh man, I kind of want to see it. So now that it's a Best Picture, I'm like, all right, I'll watch Elvis. Okay.
Yeah, I did. Okay, I did see a. I don't know if this would be a spoiler. I don't think it's a spoiler. It's just a really cool. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if the movie gets to it.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
But I've seen like this. I've seen a TikTok of someone watching the Elvis movie, and there's like, because I don't know if you've seen any of like the kind of 1-to-1 matches, but there are certain like real life clips of Elvis that they like nail in this movie. But it's like. It's not like, you know, they green screened Austin Butler into like, you know, just like
did the
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Like,
funny if they did that with Tom Hanks though.
Yeah, right.
Because he's the colonel or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that clip that I've seen where it's like they're all listening to the radio and they are hearing Elvis and they're like, he's white, and they're like, woo! It's like we got one finally, woo!
Yeah.
But I think there's a scene where it's just like it's like one of Elvis's last concerts, and he's like sweaty and just like kind of on death's door, like you can kind of tell. And it's like Austin Butler doing it. It cuts away, and then it cuts back to the real Elvis performing, like almost like Scream performing, like because it's like he died like a week later.
Damn, I
was
didn't
like,
realize
shit.
It was that close.
That's really, I don't know. It was really affecting, even in just like the little clip that I saw of it.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much historical, like archival footage that you can cut to with like real life Elvis.
Somebody
you know?
like that, yeah. Somebody so documented. Should do it like Chris Chan or biopic like that. Do the matchups.
No.
What big name celebrity, like A-list celebrity, would play
Chris Chan?
Yeah, in an Oscar.
It's
like
gotta
Oscar
be
bait prestige.
It's gotta be Christian Bale putting on a ton of weight and like.
That's not bad. Or I feel like that almost more like a Jared Leto feel. Like
Jared Leto. I could see Jonah Hill doing it.
Oh, that's him trying to be like, I'm gonna try for Oscars again.
What would the Christian prestige Oscar bait movie be called? Would it just be called like Sonichu? Zap? I don't know.
Oh man. Shit.
So need a cute girl.
Yeah. There's gotta be something in there, yeah. I'm trying to think of like one of his songs and just like some lyric from that.
Oh,
gets
Christian, featuring Christian and the Hedgehog Boys up for best musical score.
I was gonna say, and then have Lady Gaga gets nominated for like her cover for like. Well, I guess it wouldn't be best original song if it was a cover, but.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a good like if they got Daniel Johnston to do the soundtrack, but he died a couple years ago.
Yeah. That Daniel Johnston would be good for like if you're trying to do that.
What did I watched something that had Daniel Johnston music in it as like the end credits for something. Cause I feel like I was watching it and like the credits started rolling and I heard it and I was like, he has a very distinctive voice. I was like, that's Daniel Johnston, and sure enough, it was. Yeah, this is kind of going a little bit long, but like we've talked briefly about Everything Everywhere. Right. I think you're more jazzed on it than I am.
I thought you really liked it when you first watched it. You just get too soured by social media. I think
I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. The people, because
that's
it's
why
like
you don't engage. So I can still like the movie.
I don't even engage. I just see it on the timeline, and I just want to be like, stop it.
Yeah.
Because it's like the same thing when like Martin Scorsese was kind of like talking shit on Marvel movies, and then there would be people that are like, oh yeah, I love watching these artsy black and white movies about a pigeon dying, and it's 3 hours long. And it's like, well, that's okay. Yeah, that's not really how it works. But just, I was trying to workshop a joke, because like there's all these people like taking their parents to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once, and like watching their mom watch it, because the whole theme of the movie is like the whole generational family trauma, mom and daughter relationship kind of thing. And there were tweets about people that are like, I'm devastated. I brought my mom to see Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I was crying, and she didn't react at all and said it was boring. And I'm just like, and it's like, well, talk to your mom. Don't expect like this. It's like, and my joke was like, yeah, I took my parents to go see Boogie Nights with me to let them know that I have a huge dick, and they didn't even notice at all. Like, I was trying to figure out a way to phrase it. But it's one of those. It's like the Marvel fan base and like A24 fan base sent their. It's the battle of Helm's Deep for annoying people. Yeah. Between Marvel fan base and A24 fan base, and I'm just standing in the middle of it, getting just crushed by them.
I mean,
It was a great movie. I really liked it. The sentimental shit, I think it was about 20 minutes too long, and I think like the really extended like sentimental like mother-daughter stuff was like, okay, we get it. Yes, I understand.
I think that's exactly what I thought. I thought it could have been a little shorter, trim up that ending a little bit. My big emotional moment with that was her and Waymond, more so than her and the daughter, even though I got the her and the daughter was like the main conflict. But you get the thing with Waymond, and I was like, oh, that was really good. And then you still have like another half hour, and it's like, oh yeah, she still has to resolve it with the daughter. Yeah, it's not my favorite movie of the year. That and Banshees are neck and neck. If I had to pick Best Picture between those two, I don't know. Right now, I haven't really decided which one I like more so than the other. I think they're both great. I'm happy that they're both up for Best Picture. They're both kind of like not major studio, not like, they're kind of underdogs in my opinion. And I like that.
And you said like the guy who played Waymond is up for Best Supporting Actor.
He
100% deserves it. That
really,
dude,
really pushing for
his
him.
Performance was great.
Yeah,
especially after like not doing it for like so long.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm really pulling for him. He's the one that I'm like, die hard, like I'll make a TikTok about it sort of thing. But then like I think it like there's other things like editing maybe. I feel like it probably deserves that. Just all the insane like
especially
between all the universes and shit.
Yeah. And the violence. It has that Deadpool style of violence that I love, where the butt plug fight, Jamie Lee Curtis flying down the stairs and like getting her head crushed into the wall. Yeah. Just like that very sudden, abrupt, extreme violence that's like cartoonish almost. Yeah. Like real people doing like Clay Fighter or something like that. Just insanity. That's the shit about that movie that I loved. I thought it was great.
I love that she's up for a Oscar for that role too. That's awesome. I mean, she is great in it, but like, you don't often see like comedic roles get Oscar nominations, and when they do, you're like, hell yeah, that was good. Yeah. And then we can save this for. I guess we're kind of talking about this because we are planning on doing an Oscar stream of some sort, an Oscar watch along. I want to do. To make it fun. I mean, we don't have to like bet anything on it, but we should make our own ballots and like do our own.
Well, good. Like, I'm gonna try and see as many of these as I can too. Because we still have until like early March, mid-March to watch them. Yeah, and I think a lot of them are on streaming now, so I could easily go see. I could see Tar. I could see.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to watch Avatar. I really don't care about Avatar. I really don't. Not that much. But I'll watch all the other ones.
I'm planning on watching the Best Pictures. I'm gonna try to watch all the documentaries and the international movies too, and then other like random ones here and there. I was thinking about the animated ones, but I'm like, I'm not gonna like anything more than Puss in Boots. It's not happening.
Well, all the animated ones are usually like horrifically depressing too.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I've noticed, or at least the few times, because I've seen those Oscar-nominated shorts blocks a few times back when the Alamo was still around.
Yeah. But yeah, the one last thing I was gonna address that I don't know. We'll see if there's any more developments on this, or maybe it'll just get pushed aside. I don't know. But Andrea Riseborough, who got nominated for actress in a leading role for To Leslie, which is another movie that like nobody had heard about. Apparently, she campaigned for herself by like using her connections to like people in the industry and stuff. And I guess there's like the Academy might be like reforming their like rules for how people can like get into the thing, because apparently like you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to like use connections, but it's like the wife of the director of that movie knows people or something, and so she got in based on basically like Gwyneth Paltrow and Jennifer Aniston tweeting about it, more or less.
I mean, especially with all of this discourse about like nepo babies and like using your connections to like get ahead. Shit, that'll be. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'll be curious to see how that goes, especially because like that category is pretty stacked.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't seen Blonde. I don't know if I'm going to.
Oh yeah, right.
I've heard very mixed things about it. I mean, a lot of people very early on about Blonde were like, do not watch this if you're like trigger warning, content warning, because I think Marilyn Monroe is a pretty tragic figure. Like if you really look into it, like
she is.
She was chewed up and spit out by the industry, and I think that's like a big part of the movie.
Back then. I mean, not that anyone isn't now, but
yeah.
I do think it was.
Well, now we have Twitter.
Back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, try that again. Welcome back to There Will Be Duds. This is episode 85, and I am your co-host TJ, aka Jay's Pod Jack Cheese. My meter there was kind of messed up, and with me
as always, I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch,
and as always, we watched a movie this week. That movie being The Host from 2006, directed by Bong Joon-ho. It is about an amphibian monster that's chilling in the Han River of South Korea. It kind of kidnaps the daughter of the lead character, played by Song Kang-ho. So he and his father and siblings kind of launch a mission, or in a kind of covert in a way mission, to try to locate it and kill it, but mostly just try to get his daughter back. And they kind of have to navigate the government trying to kind of keep it hush hush, sort of spreading conspiracies about like it being a host of a disease. Yeah, it's a monster movie, but it's a Bong Joon-ho monster movie, so it's got a little bit more going on.
It's got layers. It's got a lot of layers. Yes.
Yeah. And it was, when it came out, the highest grossing movie in South Korea, and I think Parasite is now. So yeah, Bong Joon-ho is just kind of on fire. He's the man. I almost want to say maybe. Yeah, I almost want to say that Memories of Murder was that when that came out too.
Every time he puts out a movie, it will be. He's a one-man like blockbuster. Like every movie he puts out is going to be the biggest movie of the year and break records. Yeah. Yeah, this movie. My cat is going nuts because she can't get in here. I really enjoyed it. I'm just gonna put my cards on the table there. It was a lot of fun. I was worried at first with like the CG of the monster, because like the very first time I was like, this is kind of Neil Breen-y, like the way the monster like kind of like a snot bubble like droops into the water when they see it for like the very first time. I was like, oh, it didn't look. Oh, I don't know about this. But because I was like, okay, maybe because it's in South Korea, they don't have the best.
Yeah, give it a little bit of
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this
cut a little bit of a sag,
but afterwards it was like, no, it was great.
Yeah, I think before we get into like the I guess the meat of the movie itself, but I think kind of the same thing at first, but I think this movie does a really good job of overcoming the technical limitations by doing what I compared it to because I was telling Kalia this because she was like, that doesn't look good. We'd watched this before, but and I was like, shut up, let me tell you why it's good. No, as I compared it to Gollum from Lord of the Rings, where it's like the movie does a really good job of like giving this thing a physical weight and making it feel like it's really there, more so than like, I don't know, you think like Star Wars, and like, I don't know, there's a part where like Anakin floats over a fucking pear to Padme and she like sticks it with the fork, and I mean there's plenty of other examples, but that's the one I always think of from Star Wars, and like it doesn't, nothing looks real because they're like touching shit and it's not like reacting or anything.
But there's no physicality to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of physical, people getting snatched or ate or whatever, and it does a really good job of merging it with the stuff that's actually there, much like they do with Gollum. And
I think they had a mocap guy with this.
Oh, did they?
I think they did, yeah.
A 15-foot long human centipede style.
They had a dude in a tank that they were feeding formaldehyde for years, and now he's 15-foot long and has scales.
Yeah. And fun fact, as I said this before I realized, but Weta Workshop is credited for visual effects, and they're who did the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
because I think you did it over the last weekend or so, and like we did it like at the beginning of the year.
Oh, the trilogy.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I would say some of the orcs, some of the creatures. I was like, okay, this is early 2000s. Like it still all looks good, but definitely some of the creatures, I was like, dude,
it's a little bit, but I still think
it still
CG
it holds
is
up
pretty good.
Well.
But there's definitely a little.
Did you? Okay, so after I watched this, I have this really cool coffee table book, Bong Joon-ho book that Chloe got me for Christmas, and I read the stuff on the host, and there's a lot of fun stuff in there, but one of my favorite facts that for the inspiration for the monster, because I even felt this before I read the essay, like when I was watching the movie, that like especially near the end when they're like dumping the very subtly named Agent Yellow on the monster, I kind of felt bad for it.
Oh yeah,
because
I said that
because like the whole time this monster is like a product of its own, like it doesn't,
it's not its fault
to be
that
born. It's almost like the mother in Barbarian. I kind of thought of that too. With like the girl hiding in the subway in like the sewer.
Yeah.
And it was like, I almost imagine the monster like having a milk bottle in its tail, just like Baba,
Yeah.
But in the interview, or like Bong Joon-ho is quoted as saying that like to make that monster feel more humanizing, he gave them a picture of Steve Buscemi from Fargo to be like, all right, what's notable about the river creature is that despite the fact that humans are its primary prey, it's not really a villain. In directing the animators, Bong told them to think of the monster as an unstable teenager, and even went so far as to give the animators a picture of an actor and tell them to work with him in mind. That actor, Steve Buscemi in Fargo, the character of that kind of funny-looking Carl Showalter, struck Bong as a kindred spirit, given his impatience and the way there always seemed to be something wrong with his body. The monster, who, in Bong's words, didn't ask to be born this way, is in a similar position, always in pain due to being a result of chemicals and pollutants. So that's when you see the monster in this movie, think of Steve Buscemi being like, "I'm not here to debate you, Jerry."
That's such a weird thing because like I felt the same thing. Like to be honest, I feel that way a lot in movies where like animals are the villains. Like I feel like we watched something kind of recently.
Yeah,
oh well, like, fucking Lord of the Rings. There's all like the Oliphants. Like there's the part where I remember thinking that was like
they just that's like one of the down.
Yeah, there's the part like where Legolas. It's like one of the the most like epic moments of the battle of Pelennor Fields in the last one, where he climbs up the one and then like snaps the rope so all the people on top fall, and then he like kills it. It's like there's nobody on it.
He shoots its brain and it.
Yeah. It's like
that still only counts as one.
Yeah, and it's like the funny cool moment, but it's like you got all the people are off of it. It probably would have just ran away.
Yeah,
it's just a helpless
especially
animal.
if you know anything about elephants and how like smart they are. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And well, like much like the host, it's the people. It is man who is the true villain here.
Yeah, that's clearly like, I think it is very clearly supposed to be the point in this, that it's not like, it is more people and America. That
I mean, like the only two English speaking characters in this movie, the Americans, their entire job is to make things worse and then deny and cover up their actions in making things worse.
Yeah.
Like, the only English bits you get in the movie are those two dudes being like, pour the formaldehyde down the drain, and then you get the guy from Silence of the Lambs who has a crush on Clarice.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the scientists when she brings them the Death's Head moth.
Yeah, I know.
Think.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm saying that for the audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think there's like a scene where he like looks over at her and
You reckon as soon as you're like, oh, you see his eyes, you're like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's also like what's so affecting, especially the way that he's framed and like staring directly at him, and like one of it, he's cross-eyed.
Oh yeah,
like,
they do the same thing in Silence of the Lambs. There's like direct contact with the camera.
Yeah, that's like you're basically confronted with it, but he's just like basically telling his translators like, yeah, there is no virus. The guy that we thought was infected died of shock in the surgery, but we've gone too far. And we can't look like we're making a mistake, so we're just gonna run with this virus thing.
Yeah,
just very blatantly, like on the nose, admitting like, yeah, this is a conspiracy and we made it all up. And it's so great. I don't know, and I think another thing that I really loved was like, okay, I didn't love this. I had no sense of time in this movie because it's like, okay, the day that the monster strikes. His daughter gets taken.
Mm-hmm.
They try to find her, and then when like the dad dies because dipshit Song Kang-ho didn't count the bullets right, and he gets arrested, and like the family unit split up. It's like how much time has passed, because there's like that scene where it just seems like everything is returned to normal. Like
I see what you mean.
Like I don't want to make too many like COVID parallels, but it's like they're all out on the street wearing masks, and it's just like there's this imminent threat everywhere basically, but life has basically resumed. And it's I laughed so hard at that scene where like they were all standing at the crosswalk and the dude's like and then he like takes his mask off and he like spits into the puddle, and a truck comes by and hits the puddle and sprays the water up, and everyone's like
yeah,
because they don't want to get infected or whatever.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell, because it seemed like, okay, life has resumed. How much time has passed between the family unit being broken up and like the brother like trying to like triangulate the cell phone things? Because it's like that little girl's in
it does kind of give up.
If it's like for like multiple days, how is she eating and surviving?
Yeah, it does. I get what you mean. It does kind of come off that way. But I guess having the girl in the back of my head, I was like, oh, it's probably just like the next day. But I get what you mean.
Okay.
It does kind of give off that feeling. Maybe it's just like I don't know. If there's like a monster like that, do you evacuate the entire city, or like?
Well, we can't shut
just...
down the economy, TJ. We can't shut down the economy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't know like how to handle it, so they're just like, okay.
There's like the host deniers. That's like, nah. But then it's like, nah, that shit's government made. Actually, it is in this case.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny that it's like, if you like look at it from like a lens of now, it's like this movie comes off as pro-gun, and like pro-COVID denier, because it's all like, oh yeah, the disease is made up, and Gongdu like has like a rifle, keeps a rifle in his like food stand at the end. Could look at it that way.
That was such a cool shot though, like him, like this, like the way that it was lit, just the little food truck, and then it was completely barren outside of that food truck, and it's like the snowing, and like he thinks that he hears something out in the water. You know, like the threat's never really gone.
I thought about this, I think just yesterday, not even like when I watched it, but I was thinking that could be, I was like, oh, so now this is opposite of Squid Game, because in Squid Game the main character has like normal hair the whole time, and then at the end when he's like a changed man, he like dyes his hair red and stuff. So this is like the opposite of that. And this is his Parasite origin story. He's like, okay, now he has normal hair. Now he's been like wronged by the system, and now he's like poor. His
been lobotomized.
His family's splintered, and he has his son. He has the son. Now he's gonna. They don't establish, you know, who if they're Steph, and then he's gonna.
They're natural survivors. They if they steal to survive, it's not stealing. Like they had that kind of theme running through.
Yeah, he's gonna meet his new wife and have the kid, or have the daughter, because he's kind of like he needs to. I mean, like he's not thinking this, but he's like he feels that hole from losing his real daughter. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you can kind of look at all of Bong's movies, or at least the ones that I've seen with that lens, with that sort of like class consciousness is like a character of its own in like all of his movies in some way or form.
Yeah.
And like this one has it too. Just you know, they're all basically like the whole family's poor, and like the government doesn't listen to them, and like they don't have any resources. Like it was so devastating when he had to like give the bucket of coins as like bribe money or whatever. It's like that's the money he was going to use to buy his daughter a new phone, because she was embarrassed about her phone.
Yeah. You mentioned the part. I was going to mention that around the editing. I love the editing in this movie, especially around like the action scenes. Like such good, like it's like so well composed, and such like good cuts, like that part where the dad dies and he like the monsters come at him, and then click, and then it's that really quick shot of Song Kang-ho's fingers going, and it's like it communicates this information like you get it's so good at like communicating stuff so quick, because that shot of him is like, it's like boom 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 done, and then you see his face for like a half second, and then back to the dad, and then it just is like that. And then also like when they kill the monster too is so cool. He like has the pole, and like it's so just the action is cut really well in this movie. And then you got your classic Bong like 10 out of 10 tracking shots with like tons of people, you know, doing shit. He's like talked about that's like Kurosawa. You got to touch on the blocking. I guess the same thing with Bong Joon-ho. It's like the blocking and like those tracking shots with like large groups of people he's really good with. One of my favorite shots in the whole movie is that the first monster attack, where you see Song Kang-ho like looks down, and then you see like in the distance it like running down the like sidewalk, and then it like follows him running away, and then it like kind of goes up on that side thing, and it's so cool. It's so cool.
Did you notice the number on the jersey of that dude that got eaten like right off the bat?
No, but was it 69?
It was 69.
Hell yeah, dude.
I think that dude was like in his mouth for a good
while.
amount of time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like I think the dude was in the monster's mouth when it had his daughter in its tail.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like he grabs the girl, goes into the water, comes out on the other side, and I'm pretty sure he just like hacks out that dude and then takes her off. And it's like, damn, that 69 dude he got dissolved for a while.
Yeah. Or I wonder, is it supposed to be like, is it making a joke like it couldn't swallow him because he was too big. It's too big a piece. I don't know. And that's why it's like, let me get something smaller. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, speaking of blocking, I think this would be in that realm. But the scene directly after like the monsters kind of receded and everyone's taking stock of who's gone and what's going on. They're kind of in this kind of quarantine hospital zone where there's like people in beds.
That's another Parasite parallel I just realized, because there's like a scene after the flooding in Parasite where they're in
that's right,
like a similar kind of like,
it's like a stadium or something like
that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But they're all looking at like the posters of like all the people that have deceased, and I love that shot of all of the family like around. And it's like his daughter's like, you know, they think she's dead, but it's like all four of them like kind of huddled around, and they just start like wailing.
Yeah.
And it starts out, you're like, yeah,
collapse
this is, like,
on each other.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you start out, you're like, yeah, this is a family grieving, okay, yeah, and then they all collapse and they're like writhing on the floor, and then all these photographers immediately flock to them and start photographing them, and I'm pretty sure like Song Kang-ho was like kicking as he's rolling around on the ground. But just I love that shot of all of them surrounded, like looking, and then
yeah,
that's great.
I made a note of that scene in particular as like highlighting that again. Another thing that I mention a lot with him is like that blending of like the seriousness with the comedy, because like you said, it is like a serious like family grieving moment, but then it just turns like it's like so wild, and then they're like falling over each other, and then they bring back the drop kick. Yeah, the brother drop kicks. And then
like, yes.
And then to like break that, there's like the guy in the hazmat suit behind them who just like slips and falls and then stands up, and he's like,
yeah. And then he's like, they're like, what's going on? And he says, well, I'm sure it'll be on the news. Yes, let's watch the news. And he's clicking through the channels, and he's like, it's not on the news.
yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Wasn't that the other detective from Memories of Murder? He was in this. The drop kicking guy.
Was he? Because I saw a dude who looked a lot like him, but
yeah. I think. I'm pretty sure he's in it. Like the book that I was reading.
Roy Ha. Well, the brother, who I can't believe I didn't realize this until afterwards. The brother is like the final suspect from Memories of Murder, like the factory worker who's like really quiet.
Okay.
No, the other detective is not in unless you're talking about the other detective. No, you said the drop kicking one. Yeah, he's not in this.
Interesting. Maybe. Yeah.
Unless no, he might be
Yeah, Kim Roy-ha is Cho Young-koo, Park's partner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Park's
he's
partner. Who? I don't fucking know.
So I think it's because it's like, isn't it like three detectives? It's Song Kang-ho, then the detective from Seoul that shows up.
I know you're talking
about. And then the
third
third guy, Kim Roy-ha. Yeah, he's the hazmat guy in The Host.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's who he is in The Host. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yes.
Nice.
Yeah, his little cameo was great. Just he's trying to keep everyone in control, and he's totally inept.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and then you got the dad who's been in Barking Dogs and Memories of
I really
Murder.
gotta rewatch these.
And he's in Okja too, but I don't think he's in any of the other ones. He's in 4 of them. And then Bae Doona, she was in Barking Dogs. She was like the main girl in that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really got to rewatch these now that I kind of like know who these actors are and I've seen them in other things. It'll be fun to go and like rewatch them with that in mind.
Oh, another one I noticed was the mentally challenged guy from Memories of Murder.
Yeah.
He's in this. He just plays some like random. I want to say it's like when the brother, maybe when he goes to that office.
Oh,
No,
with Fat Guevara. Yeah. I don't know why he's called that, but
yeah. I could be wrong, but yeah, that guy's in it too. So yeah, a bunch of the old gang.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Like, you know, certain directors always kind of feature, you know, like Wes Anderson always has like Adrian Brody or Bill Murray or like, you know, Owen Wilson's. I like that Bong keeps, you know, he has his cast of characters like almost like single-handedly like made Song Kang-ho an international star.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which like Song Kang-ho is only like 39 in this, but he's kind of cut. Because I feel like in all of his other movies I've seen him in, he kind of has like a naturally kind of chubby looking face.
Yeah.
I would say he's got like
he's a round face.
But it's like seeing him like as like this skinny burnout loser is kind of funny.
Yeah. Dang,
and
I
like,
didn't realize
you know,
he was almost 40. He looks a lot younger in this. Maybe it's
he does.
I thought he was like early 30s.
Yeah. I really. Yeah, again, mixing that blend of like real family drama and humor, you know, the scene when he's asleep and he tells the siblings, "Hey, like he didn't have enough protein as a kid." It's like you just dial it back sometimes when you're shitting on this guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I can tell if it's going to be a good or bad day based on like the smell of his farts."
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
That's how you really know somebody. If you can smell their farts and be like, that's gonna be a bad day.
That's what it's like
gonna
being
be a rough
dad,
one.
I guess.
Yeah. It's such a great character introduction too. Like you said, all these like visual little things that like you immediately know what's going on and like what these characters are about. The introduction of his character sleeping at the stand, and he gets up and he just has the coins like kind of like stuck to his face because he fell asleep on him. It's like okay, yeah, I know everything I need to know about this guy.
Yeah.
This guy could survive a lobotomy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because I feel like what was that? Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Isn't there like a scene with Jack Nicholson, and he's like kind of like and then he's like, and then he wakes. Everyone thinks he's been like sedated, and he's like pretending to be like all like, and then he snaps out of it. That's kind of what Song Kang-ho does. Like after the lobotomy, he gets up and he like just kind of has a very blank expression, and then that's when he grabs the woman with the needle, and he's like get away from me, like using like the virus as a weapon to hold hostage. The jarring like hospital lighting when he's got that thing on his face, and you can like he's like,
oh
what are you doing?
Yeah,
you know,
and he fluctuates between, which seems, you know, kind of genuine, I guess, realistic in a way, like of how maybe a person would act in that way of like fluctuating between like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you pieces of shit, and then, oh, please let me go, please, I'm sorry, I won't say anything. Just back and forth. Yeah. Talk about what do you think about that resolution of I guess they kill the monster, but his daughter is dead, but in the process she saved a little boy who was stuck down there too.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's kind of a good arc for her, I guess. Where like she kind of got to be her own hero. Like she got to save somebody.
All right, I
and
like
like, you know, she kind of she made a sacrifice to save this kid, to keep him safe. Like she kind of took it on herself to be like, this situation sucks. But it sucks probably even worse for you because you are a child who like knows even less about what's going on. So it's like, she tried to keep him. It made me think of because like before the kid gets thrown into like the sewer, he's with his brother and they're like orphans and they're scavenging. I thought of like Grave of the Fireflies with like the older brother and like the younger sister, like trying to, we got to survive together. And it was almost kind of like that parallel where like she was protecting him. In that book that I was reading, apparently test audiences hated it.
Hated the ending.
Yeah, they hated that the daughter died. And it was kind of ambiguous, I feel like when they pull her out, because it's like, I thought both of them died at first.
Shit.
I was like, okay, well, someone has to like wake up, right? Like that scene's gotta happen.
Yeah.
But when it was like the younger kid, I was like, okay. Like I didn't hate it. I guess thematically, like, I think it worked.
Yeah.
It's like a 50-50 bummer, uplifting ending.
Yeah. I think that I was just wondering because I don't know. I didn't hate it the first time I watched it. I like it, or like I'm more like cool with it now. It's just it is a bummer. It's just not, if this was an American movie, no fucking way is that how it would end. No way.
Yeah.
The daughter would live, or it would have like just ended somewhere. And like I feel like if this did have, I think maybe this came to theaters over here, but obviously wasn't like a big thing or didn't have a wide release. But like, American audiences would not gel with that ending at all.
Or they wouldn't. They would be like, oh, and now so he just has this other kid now. I guess that's weird.
Yeah. I assumed if there was any in between adoption thing, but the kid was like an orphan, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He probably could have just taken him and nobody would have like asked or.
Yeah. Like, I'm your dad now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of different. I like it because I think it I don't want to say makes it more realistic. It's not realistic that like, they die, but it kind of puts it in a different light from other general monster movies where it's like, it's this thing was a threat. It was dangerous. And you might save the day, but it's not going to be perfect, Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. And that's why he isolates himself at the end of Parasite. Okay, we're going Parasite spoilers, I guess. Because the daughter gets killed, and he's like, it's bringing him back to the host, and he's like, I can't do this. He's like, I can't do this anymore. So he self-isolates.
I can't keep losing him.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's great.
Yeah. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
Oh god, I don't think I remember now.
Something about it was the ending and
the ending, yeah.
Daughter dying and stuff.
Oh no, because you mentioned like how unnatural a situation it is of like the monster and shit. Another thing I read from that little essay was that like Bong did not like the idea of like hiding the monster. Like typical monster movies, it's like the monster's in the shadows up until like the big reveal. This, it's like, nope, it happens in broad daylight and you get to see it like completely immediately. Like, there's no ambiguity.
Yeah.
Like you see the monster. And also I think, he tried to make it more as realistic as he could.
Right.
So it's like he made it, it's like, okay, this thing's big, but it can still hide behind a truck or like a vehicle.
Yeah.
Like it's not so
That's
big
cool. Yeah.
that it's just like a Godzilla, So like that was kind of like his thought process behind it was.
I like that. That's cool.
Kind of like, I don't know, made me think of like how Midsummer is like a horror movie, but it takes place in like completely broad daylight for the most part.
Yeah.
Like really like, I guess, subverting like the genre, especially for like 2006. Really trying something different of like those types of monster movies.
That's cool. I respect that because, I mean, a lot of times the reason that they do that is because they know that it doesn't look real, so they do it in darkness, so it's it's kind of hidden.
Yeah,
kind of
I mean, it's like the Jaws effect
a little bit. Jaws or Alien too. They do that with
or even
xenomorph.
in this book they talk about like inspirations, and like they were talking about like Jaws kind of being one of them, but he said like one of the biggest inspirations was Signs.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Yeah, with like
Yeah, because they're just kind of like, I think when you see them, it is like broad daylight. At least when you first see the aliens and that. Yeah.
And I think he also like took a lot of like the family aspect, because like
okay.
Similarly, like Signs is a movie that's ostensibly about a family unit like staying together, and that's kind of what this movie's about too. Like, it again, like Bong Joon-ho and his layers. Like you got like the class stuff, you got the family stuff, and you got it's like very normal people thrusted into a situation where like they're not action heroes. Yeah. And I think that's kind of a thing in like a lot of his movies that I've seen, where it's like ordinary people that are kind of dumb sometimes and make very human decisions. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to get that movie star ending, you know, like with Parasite. Yeah. Like a main member of the family like dies. Yeah. And it's, you know, very similarly with this, like it's as grounded in reality as it can be.
Yeah. It is cool how human he makes his movies feel, despite how, I mean, a couple of them I guess are sci-fi or, you know, kind of wacky concepts. I guess most of them are normal life stuff, but still very human like characters. Regardless of the subject matter. The
only other couple, I guess, stray thoughts I've got. I laughed pretty hard at like the scene when Fat Guevara tries to betray him and like get the bounty on his head, but then like the brother escapes, and even as he's running away, Fat Guevara's like, like you set him up, and now you're like giving him the fist of solidarity that he escaped.
Yeah, I wonder.
Dickhead.
Yeah, is that supposed? No, because he asks them like, "Oh yeah, what's the pay for this?" So he definitely, it's not like he was, you know, it's not like the government found him and they were like, "Hey, you got to set your friend up or we're sending you to jail." Like he, definitely set up like he called them to. Yeah. So.
And then the other. I laughed pretty hard when, like, early on in the monster attack, some dude just gets launched. Like, he just gets flung.
Yeah.
I don't know, it made me laugh.
Yeah.
The only other thing is, like, you know, it's kind of, I was waiting for it to happen, but with the sister, like, the whole setup of, like, she never knows when to shoot at the right time. She can just never, and, like, several times she knocks an arrow and never does it. Yeah. And so when the brother has the Molotov cocktails, which, like, I don't know, again, reading the essay in this book, it's kind of talking about like how you know each character's vices. Like you see her gripping on her bow and you see the brother gripping on his alcohol bottle. Like he's, you know, and so it's like they kind of use their vices together at the end to kill the monster.
Extremely satisfying. Like everybody like plays their part, and
I was like, she's got to get this shot. She's got to have her redemption. She's got to have her gold medal shot. Yeah. And like when God, and Plex, worst possible timing for commercials. But when he goes to throw the Molotov cocktail and it drops behind him, I got hit with like a 2-minute ad, and I'm like, come on, man. And then when she like dips the tip of the bow into the flames and lifts it up, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is her shot. She's going to do it.
Yeah.
Super satisfying.
Yeah. I remember what I was going to say. I was just going to say, like, kudos to Bong about this, you know, just doing it during daytime, of being like I was saying, a lot of other ones kind of try to hide it. But, you know, if he was just like, no, I have enough confidence in my directing and everything else that it doesn't matter if it, you know, looks a little shaky. And also I feel like at the time, you know, because visual effects age with time. Like when this came out, it probably wasn't as noticeable, right?
Yeah, we hadn't seen Avatar 2, The Way of Water.
Yeah.
And it's like, even, you know, we keep going back to Parasite, but even then, like, you got this CG monster, and then you've got like the Parks house, which is entirely on a soundstage, like the top level of that house doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's like blue screened in.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you see that shot of them in the yard outside,
yeah,
they only made the first level. The second
floor.
level, yeah, that top one like doesn't even exist. There's like a picture, and you can see like it's completely covered in blue, and they've like digitally superimposed the second level of the house onto it. So it's like, you know, that's where visual effects, like, you wouldn't even know if you watched it. Like, it's crazy. And obviously it's a static image instead of like a monster, but you know.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
If we're talking realism, you know.
Yeah, no, that's the best kind of visual effects, right? Is when like you don't even know that it's there. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good to move on.
Yeah.
If you are. I don't really have any more notes. It's you got the ball this week.
I got the floor. Bo. What did I give all the other? I don't even remember what I gave all the other Bong Joon-ho movies that we've watched.
I think we're on the same. No, don't compare it. What did you think of this movie by itself? Because I kept doing that. I was like, with Memories of Murder. So I'm like, which one do I like more? What did I rate Memories of Murder? I'm like, don't think of that. Just rate it.
I'm feeling a 9 on this one. I'm feeling a 9. I was initially hesitant with the CG monster, and I feel like at the very beginning the dialogue was a little also like kind of Neil Breen-y, where like he asked the guy to pour the formaldehyde down the sink, and he was like, yes, but
sure.
Wouldn't that go into the Han River?
Yes.
It was like the thing was like, wait, isn't that illegal? Aren't you lying to the people? Like that thing at the end of was it whatever Neil Breen movie we watched?
Yeah.
But no, I again, Bong is a master of blending all of these genres of tight-knit family stories, class stories, monster movies. Like this is such a good layered movie that, you know, even on repeat viewings, I think I would pick up more stuff, because I do think that I clocked that scene you were talking about earlier when he's like counting the bullets, but I think it might have been so fast I didn't like compute exactly what he was trying to convey. But like now that you mentioned that, that's such a good visual indicator of like it expresses an idea instantaneously right at you and you get it. So just for his like third movie at the time, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Song Kang-ho is great. Love my boy Song Kang-ho. Even all the performances are great, and it has there's like a really great scene of like this weird surrealism when they're all eating and the daughter just pops up out of the background and starts eating with them.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? I was very confused, but I was like, it even has like these elements of surrealism that are really cool. So I'm at a 9. This movie rocks.
Nice. I'm right around there. I'm a little higher. I'm at a 10. Yeah. I don't know. I was fluctuating between a 9 and a 10. So I was watching it, but kind of sitting on it now. I'm like, it's just one of those movies where like there's not a week. I would say this for Parasite, for Memories of Murder, and probably for Okja. That'd probably be like my 4th favorite of his, Okja, but I would still probably say that, where it's like there's not a weak scene. I think like the entire thing is compelling and interesting and gripping, and you know all the positive adjectives, you know, attributes that you'd want for a movie. And yeah, I don't know, it's fucking fantastic. I gave Memories of Murder a 9 too, and I always thought that was my second favorite of his after Parasite. I wonder if I should like reevaluate and like is Memories of Murder a 10? I'm not sure. Or maybe I just like this one more. Yeah, I feel like my only qualms with it the first time I watched it was like I was a little iffy on the ending, and now I'm just like, yeah, it's a sad ending, but I think it's a good ending. Great characters, great acting. I'm partial to monster movies, especially when they're done well. So movie fucking rocks. Do we transition? Do we have a,
Yeah.
Wait. I can't read this. It's in a different.
Yeah. Let me check. Hold on.
I'm just. Are we back?
Oh God, I turned to this page.
Oh
Yeah. 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 I'm thinking we're back.
Okay. Oh yeah. So.
Yeah.
What did you watch?
We we had an interesting double feature last night. There are several movies that I will always pester Chloe about, like, we need to watch this, and American Beauty was one of them, where I'd be like, this is like a formative movie for me that I've seen like years ago, that on repeat viewing still is affecting, and I was like, we need to watch this, and so we watched it last night, and not surprisingly, I still think it holds up. Probably would be a 10 out of 10 for me.
Cool.
And I totally understand why some people would not be into it now, given the Kevin Spacey's whole shit and the fact that this movie is about a middle-aged man who is essentially grooming a teenage girl. It's pretty rough stuff. I understand that.
Oh, right. Yeah. I didn't think about that
Like,
aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I still think, the score is one of my favorite movie scores ever.
Yeah. Really good.
It's just, I think, I don't know. You can tell me every reason why you think that it's hacky and pretentious, and I'd be like, yeah, probably. Don't care.
Yeah.
That ending monologue still gets me every time. Like, yeah, no, it's great. I love it. And then right after that, we watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which I had never seen before. Have you seen that?
That was like a one for you, one for her type thing.
It was, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
No, I've never seen the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
It's like that Matthew McConaughey big movie star, like rom-com dude.
Yeah,
It is funny that everyone's like,
era.
He's so hot, and like Matthew McConaughey's kind of a skeletal looking guy.
Yeah,
I don't think he's unattractive, but it's just like he's very polygonal. Like he's like a PS1 game looking guy.
Yeah.
Like
the one time I thought he was hot was, and I don't even know if I'd say
Buyers
like
Club.
Hot. No, the earlier episodes of True Detective from like when they're in the like the 1995 section where he's got like the short hair. It's pretty good there, but other than that,
okay.
no, I don't like his spaghetti hair, his ramen noodle hair. I'm not
His
a fan.
ramen noodle hair, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because it has two people that went on to be in Glass Onion.
Which one are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about, yes, Kate
How
Hudson.
This guy, I think. And there's another woman who looks like Laura Linney, but she's not.
You're not talking Catherine Hahn?
Yes.
Weird. I've never thought of Laura Linney, but I can kind of see
Maybe
that.
Is it Laura Linney or is it?
I can kind of see that.
No, it's not Laura Linney. It's someone else. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, like it's like this. It's kind of a rom-com, but it's like they both work in like. It's a very thinly veiled reference to Cosmopolitan magazine. So she's basically like. I think it's called Composure.
Oh, okay.
But it's got the same sort of sensational headlines like how to orgasm with or without him.
Because that's like it's like a article headline that's right.
Yeah. And so basically she wants to write about like politics and like sports, and like she's basically one of the guys. Like that's her whole character is like, I'm not like other girls, I'm cool. Mm-hmm. And basically her editor is like, if you can become like Composure's it girl, you can write about whatever you want. And so like Catherine Hahn's character is just like, I think if you put it in Wedding Crashers terms, she'd be like a stage 5 clinger. Like that's the kind of like dating. She's broken up with after like dating a guy for a week. She's like, I cried during sex and told him I loved him. Like she's just like crazy. And so she gets the inspiration to be like, okay, I'm going to write an article on what not to do in dating. and the article is going to be called "How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days." So she's going to find someone to date, and then increasingly become more insane and insufferable.
Okay.
As the thing goes on, and she's gonna like basically trying to get dumped and sabotaging it.
Okay.
And then conversely, Matthew McConaughey's character works at like an advertising firm, and he's trying to get this big client, and it's like some sort of like diamond thing, and they're like, oh, only women can talk about diamonds because they love them. And he's like, look, if I can get someone to fall in love with me in 10 days, I get to be the pitch guy for like this diamond client that we're trying to advertise for. And so it's like unstoppable force, immovable object. He's trying to get this girl to fall in love with him while she's actively trying to sabotage their relationship.
Okay.
And I mean, it kind of falls into the trappings of like those rom-coms. I'm like, okay, there's eventually going to be a scene where one of them finds out that the other is doing it based on a bet, or is doing it for like these, they're not disclosing their real reasons why they're doing it. But overall, it had some funny moments. It was definitely cheesy. It was fine. I would give it like, I think I rated it like 3.5 on Letterboxd.
Oh,
so like a 6.5, 7. It was fun. It was fine.
Nice.
It had like the most early 2000s ass music I've ever like. It's so funny how like certain songs from that time period are instantly recognizable as like 99 to like 2003.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I know exactly the time period when that song was recorded.
Was there like any Everclear or?
No, there was like a Keith Urban song. It was like, I wanna love somebody. Like that song was in there.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the end credits music, but yeah, no, it was very much in line in that wheelhouse.
That's funny. I have wondered like if going back to those like old, would those be more positive now that Matthew McConaughey is more, at least in my mind, like he was one of those guys like during that time where I would just avoid any movie he was in because I'm like, oh, he
takes his shirt off in this movie. Like within 10 minutes of meeting his character, he takes his shirt off. Like that was the thing. Like, because I think he's in another movie with Kate Hudson. I think it's called like Australia, and literally on the cover of the movie, his shirt is off. Like
Fool's Gold.
Fool's Gold, yeah. Wasn't he in another movie called Australia?
I hate that I fucking knew that. But there's a movie with like Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman called Australia. That's the only one I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm conflating all. I conflate Sahara is the movie I'm thinking of.
Oh.
Gosh, oh my God.
Sahara.
Yep.
Yep.
That wasn't what I was thinking. Oh, Steve Zahn is in that.
Yeah, that's
that dude has a weird face. He was in the first season of White Lotus. He's got a weird face.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I think Sahara was one of the like. I don't think it's a good movie, but I probably liked that one as a kid. Like any Indiana Jones adjacent sort of action movies, I was really into.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I guess it
like
kind of has that look.
Like modern swashbuckler sort of thingy. Yeah. Mummy, like the Mummy style. That's right. A good comparison, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would always like just avoid him. I think the first thing I like went to see with him, and it was, although he wasn't like a main character, was Tropic Thunder, and he is really funny in Tropic Thunder. But like everybody's good in that movie.
I feel like after Wolf of Wall Street, that was like a big movie where I think, because I mean, he's only in it very briefly, but his character is like one of the most memorable.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, like you gotta, yeah. And then he just did a string of like dramas.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh shit, okay. Like he did Dallas Buyers Club. He did Interstellar, yeah, that's another big one. Wolf of Wall Street, and then the True Detective shit, where it's like, oh, okay, he's got dramatic chops. He's good.
Yeah, he's great.
He's not just the shirtless guy.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then I watched not as a double feature, but kind of bring them both up because they are kind of thematically similar in a sense, to sort of existential sci-fi think pieces, I guess. one being World of Tomorrow by Don Hertzfeldt, and then the other one, Last and First Men by Johan Johansson. His one and only movie, sadly, because he passed away before it came out. He is I'll go into Last and First Men first, since we can kind of talk more about Don Hertzfeldt. And I think there's less to say about Last and First Men, even though I loved it. I liked both of them a lot. I only I don't know. I had fluctuated on actually watching this movie for a while, because you see a trailer and you hear about it, and all I can say is anything that you would see in the trailer or hear about it. The movie is so it's an adaptation of this old sci-fi novel of the same name it's from like the 30s or something, so early sci-fi. And the movie is just a series of either still images or very slowly zooming or like turning camera movements, very like slow, black and white, 16 millimeter. And it's narrated by Tilda Swinton, and then it's got a score behind it, and it's just kind of text from the book, I guess. And it sounds like something that would be like in an art installation or like at a museum or some shit.
Yeah. But
there's just something about that combination of elements that really worked for me. Normally I'm not for this like slow, like bullshit, like pretentious seeming artsy shit.
I'm trying to feel it. I feel like we talked about something like that not too long ago. Was it? It wasn't that Santiago movie, was it?
Oh, maybe. The thing is that Shadatango is a lot more like. You're thinking of the Cremaster Cycle? That's what you're thinking.
That's what, because we found that Letterboxd reviewer guy who reviewed all of them. Yeah, wrote all of his reviews as like personal like attacks toward the director, and like,
that's right.
Hey man, like Tim Curry.
Yeah,
I follow it. Right. Yeah, go follow Tim Curry on Letterboxd.
That's right.
His reviews are pretty great.
That's
that's what
Tim
it was.
Curry. Yeah. And maybe it's because this one isn't like. It's not like I think the difference between this and something like Cremaster is that Cremaster's like, oh, I'm presenting all these weird images and that, but it's actually a metaphor for all this bullshit, this stupid shit about my dick or whatever. And Last and First Men is basically just like Tilda Swinton is telling you a story, and like if you listen to what she's saying, you get the story. It's not being metaphorical. It's not trying to be, it's if you listen to it, you get the story. It's not hard to get as long as you're paying attention. And also, like, from what I know about the story, so the book is literally it's supposed to be written by the last men, the 18th men, who are from 2 billion years in the future. And the book is almost like an archive where they just go through, this is the history of the first men, which is us. We are the first men. And it's like, and then they went extinct after this many years, and they created the second men, and then the second men, and then they do like, this is a physical description of the second men, and then this is their history, and then into like each down to the 18th. And then it's basically like the 18th men, there's this thing coming towards the sun, and it's going to kill the sun. We don't have enough time to leave our planet, so we are the last people.
Gotcha.
The human race dies with us, so we are reaching into the past to communicate with you, to try to, I guess, like pull something, try to save us by means of communicating with the past. The movie doesn't really go through the past men. It's basically just that thing with the last men, and
gotcha.
like communicating with the first and stuff. But it's, like I said, it just works. It's like I feel like if somebody tried to make a traditional movie of this, it wouldn't. I don't know. I just don't think it would be that interesting. But like, God, the music is so great. The visuals are so cool. Apparently, like, it's all shot in like this like remote section of Yugoslavia, and it's all these like weird ass statues and like just architecture. But paired with this, it's like, is this supposed to be like, it's so foreign looking that it's like, this could be like where they live or something, or you know. And
yeah, you find those like untouched parts of like the planet still, and you're like, oh, holy shit, this is like a completely different planet that we're on, because there's nothing there that we would like recognize.
Yeah,
like there's like no roads, no buildings, no traffic lights, no, like it's just completely like untouched.
Yeah,
or it's like it's so foreign.
It is really, yeah. The structures themselves are so weird. But yeah, I don't know. I was really surprised how much I liked it. Also, it's a movie, but it's literally like an hour. It's like with credits, it's an hour 10. So
okay.
But I was like, I could have watched like basically an audiobook of the whole thing like this. It was so cool. Yeah, I love Tilda Swinton. She has a good job. She is just it is almost like an audiobook, like a very well produced visual audiobook in a sense if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
But you get a new Johansson score that was kind of like bittersweet for me because I love his music. He did you'd probably know him from Mandy. He did the Mandy's score.
But okay.
He also did a few Denis Villeneuve movies. He did Prisoners, Sicario, which is probably my favorite score of his.
Yeah, I've seen Prisoners. I love Mandy.
Yeah.
That movie rocks. So is it like kind of like weird synthesizer electronic music? Because the score for Mandy is very...
There's some of that. I'd say it's more Prisoners, Arrival. He did Arrival too.
Okay.
There's orchestral stuff, but I think there's some electronic stuff too.
Okay.
So yeah, that was. Yeah, it's sad because it's his only thing. I don't know. He is primarily a composer, so who knows if he even would have made directed another movie.
Yeah.
But, yeah, really, really great composer. And really good score. Really good score for this movie too. I thought it was great. It's just.
Yeah, I definitely got to check that out now.
Weird thing, but yeah, really, really good. And then World of Tomorrow by Don Hertzfeldt is also about like people far in the future communicating with people in the past. It's actually really similar now that I think about it, because World of Tomorrow it's 3 episodes, but I think it's done and kind of like what he did with It's Such a Beautiful Day. I don't know if you saw that one, but
no.
That also came out in like 3 parts, but then it's like one movie. The World of Tomorrow is a bit more disjointed than that, and I don't know if it is supposed to be a movie, but for the purposes of my movie list thing, I'm counting it as a movie.
Sure.
But yeah, the first one is like, it's basically Last and First Men, because there's this future Emily who comes to Emily Prime in our present, and she says that the world is going to end and I need your help to try to save it, or try to save myself at least, which that's basically the premise of Last and First Men. But I feel like we talked about Don Hertzfeldt in the past on the show maybe, but
yeah because like my experience with Don Hertzfeldt was, I think years ago, Trevor found it was like a 2 DVD box set of the animation show, which was curated by, I think, Don Hertzfeldt and Mike Judge.
Yes.
And it was like animations from all over the world. That's how we The Incredible Hunk. Well, fine, put it on a tray, like that shit. That's from that. There was like a really great band that I learned about from that called the Real Tuesday Weld. They kind of do the Clerkenwell Kid, which is, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like that, I love that band, and I found like the animation show is weirdly formative for me. Apparently, as now that I think about it, but I think Rejected was on that, which I think is a lot of people's first. Because
or
my
only.
spoon is too big. Yeah, or only.
Yeah.
Which I think if you go into World of Tomorrow only knowing like Rejected or like Billy's Balloon, or I don't know, some of the other like very strange, hyper violent, surreal, like kind of comedies, I am a corporate whore, like that kind of shit. I think World of Tomorrow, you're like, oh my God, because it is quite affecting. And it's like, yeah, I saw it in an Oscar nominated shorts block. Apparently you and I both saw it the same year at the Alamo Draft House in Kalamazoo. There was a really cool one in that block where it was like a 20-minute long one. It was like kind of stylistic, a guy smoking a cigarette. It was like more noir. I don't know if you remember that one.
I remember World of Tomorrow, and then there was like a space one. Those are the two that I remember.
Yeah.
Like an astronaut one.
That's right, yeah. I think that was Russian.
Yeah.
But
So
World of Tomorrow, I was like, I was pretty blown away. Again, I haven't seen it since then. But I mean, I think if you watch a lot of Don Hertzfeldt stuff, even the more comedic stuff, there are those. It's underscored with like melancholy and deeper. Yeah, they're deeper than like what you would think.
Deeper like, than more my spoon is too big.
Yeah, and my anus is bleeding.
Yeah. Yeah, the World of Tomorrow is definitely following the same train as It's Such a Beautiful Day. I think It's Such a Beautiful Day is more. It's Such a Beautiful Day is like that one is like it like wrecks you. But it's really really good. Still like really funny. He mixes in like a lot of like in the first episode of World of Tomorrow. There's a part where the third generation Emily is telling Emily Prime, like she's telling her like all this, all the bad shit that's going on. And then she's like, and also we've like something we've done to like pacify or to lessen like grief of a loss of a loved one is you can it's something where like you like take their face and stretch it over this like ball on a robot so that they'll always be around, and then it like cuts to somebody standing by this like robot with like a face stretched over it, and it just is like bouncing and like on
yeah.
And then the Emily Prime is like this little, she's like 3 or 4 years old, and she's voiced by like a very small child, so I don't know if her dialogue was written that way or if it was just like he just kind of had a microphone around a little kid and worked the dialogue around that, because she just says like random kid shit.
Yeah because I remember like the third Emily shows up and just like drops all this really heavy shit and says like, yeah, blah, like this has gone wrong and I'm trying to prevent this from happening, so I'm coming back to you, Emily Prime. And she'll be like, okay,
yeah,
like just way above her head.
Yeah, there's like, it's like after one of those and she's like, I drew a triangle.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the sequel kind of follows that too. It's not the same future Emily, it's a different future Emily comes back to Emily Prime. So that one's really similar. And then the third one is about David Prime, who is mentioned in the first two.
Okay.
And one of the future Emilys communicates with him. I don't know. I don't want to give away too much about the story, but if you liked the first episode, I definitely would check out the other ones. You have to pay for them. You could just get the DVD. That's what I did with if you get the DVD or the Blu-ray for It's Such a Beautiful Day, it has the first episode on it of World of Tomorrow.
Yeah, because like I follow Don Hertzfeldt on like Facebook, because like he's still pretty active there, and like every once in a while I'll see him post like, hey, you can still get the Blu-ray for It's Such a Beautiful Day or World of Tomorrow, like. And I've been meaning to buy it because I remember seeing World of Tomorrow, like the first one, and really, really liking it. and I should just eventually pick it up. Oh, there's like a best of Don Hertzfeldt 2006 to 2011. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I'd like to start getting more like physical media of his stuff, but I know you can like pay for it on Vimeo.
Yeah, I got the Blu-ray for that, just to like support him, because it is directly from his website. Anytime I can like directly support, you know, like I did with like Hollywood. If I have some extra money, I would do that for Neil Breen too, or if he made it any easier to actually buy shit off of his website.
Yeah,
because I would like physical copies of some of his movies. That'd be cool. But yeah, if you like his style, it's all. I think the first episode is it's a very good primer. I think they maybe get more serious as they go, but there is still like really funny stuff in all of them.
Yeah. You kind of have to, with like how heavy that subject matter can get. Like, and I think, very, very similar to Bong Joon-ho. It's like using sort of like tragic comedy as a vehicle to get like more, you know, deeper ideas through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And kind of like touches on, which It's Such a Beautiful Day does this a lot too. Touches on basically fucking, as well as Last and First Men. It's like touches on like the finite nature of like humans, and like you know, the drop in the bucket that like our entire species is, and all that. So it really like makes you think, like it just puts you in like it humbles you sort of thing.
This podcast is a drop in the bucket but it's a drop in the drop in the drop in the bucket.
Yeah. It's all the end of Men in Black 1 in the end.
Aliens are gonna find my hard drive with all the episodes on it.
Yeah.
These are their records.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do they mean by Hercules plate? What is this? These nuts? That ultimately that's going to be our contribution to human history.
Yeah. Stud week.
Oh shit, it's here.
Okay. Next week's movie. Yes, our dud movie.
Yes.
From 2003, directed by William Byron Hillman. Quigley. Yeah. This is I'm excited for this one.
Have you seen it?
No, but it's Gary Busey playing a dog, so, you know.
Oh, okay. I've heard of this.
So, yeah.
Oh.
I don't need to see it to know that.
It's got the dude from Nope.
Yeah, Oz Perkins, right?
Is he like the pretentious director guy?
I think he's I think he works on that commercial, yeah. Did you know that that's Anthony Perkins' son? Like Psycho? Like the Psycho? That's his son.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can definitely see it.
Yeah. He's done he directs stuff too. He's done I should say he's done one movie that I think is pretty good, but
that's Michael Wincott who's the director.
Oh, you meant Antlers Holst.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Who's Oz Perkins in Nope?
He's at the commercial at the beginning of the movie that they're shooting. He's just like he's like a assistant director or something like that. But he's like the one that they talk to when they're like, "Oh, can I get a second?" Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the. I didn't realize that's the guy that you meant.
Yeah. Oh, he's in Legally Blonde, not another teen movie. All right.
Yeah, he's done a few things. Oh, yeah, he plays young Norman Bates in Psycho 2.
Great. Perfect.
That's pretty cute. You know, I've actually heard good things about Psycho 2. I want to watch that one eventually. And maybe it's like good for what it is, for being a like 20 years later sequel, not by Alfred Hitchcock. They're like, oh, it's not complete garbage. It could be one of those, but
or maybe it's like a Halloween 3, like Season of the Witch kind of thing, where it was probably panned initially when it came out, and then they're like, oh wait, actually, this is good.
Yeah, kind of reevaluated or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, Quigley, that movie, it's on Tubi.
Of course.
And then some other stuff, but just get Tubi. No reason not to. So watch it there before next week's episode if you don't want to be spoiled for it. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And we're trying to push for, go to our YouTube, though. That's our one that we're trying to push for. Like we said, we're going to at least try to do an Oscar stream coming up, but maybe be cooking up some extra content exclusive for the YouTube to try to push that.
Yeah.
At least for now. We'll see where it goes, but yeah. And with all that said, I am your. You know what? I'm not. I'll be nice to myself. I'm not fat, but I'm chubby Guevara.
Dude, that's what I was gonna do.
Oh, I'm slightly above the BMI average weight. Guevara. TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I am your lobotomy resilient father who wants to give you a beer, because what, you're in middle school now?
Oh yeah.
AKA Nick, AKA Dr. Funk on Twitch.
All right, bye.
Bye.